So Casey, does this statement create a new object?
I'm not really sure. I can't remember if it makes a new object or a new reference.
Okay, and this is a point that's very confusing to most people. What I would say is to think about the running of a constructor, one has to say the word new. If you want a new color, a new account, a new robot, you have to say new. So one way to think about this is simply to look at the syntax and say, well, if I don't see new account, it's not a new object, something else is happening, and we'll talk about that. So this statement A3 equal to A1 doesn't create a new object. But there is a third instantiation here, a new account of 10, and so Casey, how would that look in memory?
It would be 1004 would be 10, and then 1005 would have 5 again.
Good. Now we've laid these objects out linearly in memory, which is fine. Java's not obligated to do that. It could have put the first object at address 2007 and the next one at address 45. So memory to Java can be all over the place. That's fine. For us as humans, it's easier to think of it being sequential. Like the houses on a block are numbered sequentially. It'd be hard to find a family if you didn't know that they were at an address that occurred after another one.
Professor, I'm
Yes.
curious. So if we didn't instantiate a new account for account A3, if we change the value of A1, does the value of A3 change as well?
Good question. So let's suppose we change the value of A1 at this point. So let's over here say A1 is equal to null, for example. So A1 doesn't reference any account anymore. So what did I do here? It just needs to be saved. There's something after that? Oh, I'm not inside a method. Let me put all this inside of a method. Sometimes the messages you get from Java are not all that meaningful, and this is one of those cases. Okay, so let's go back to your question. So if I say A1 equal to null at this particular point, remember that computers execute programs going down the page one line at a time. And so the computer can't look ahead and know that A1 is going to eventually be null. When you assign A3 equal to A1, we'll talk about what that does in a second, but it doesn't change A3 because you change A1 to null. So A3 is going to stay whatever it was. The only way to change A3 would be to reassign it. What's missing from the picture over here are A1, A2, A3, and A4. What's shown here are the locations of the objects themselves. So what I'd like to do separately is think about what is the value of A1. And I'm going to claim that A1 has the value of the object at which it is referencing. So it's referencing this object that has 105 as its balance and interest rate. So in terms of what we see over here, what would A1's value be inside the computer?